Differentiated instruction. Today we're going to talk about what it is and how it can help improve your classroom environment. Today we're going to discuss ideas and theories, types of differentiation, curriculum modifications, universal design for learning, social skills, behavior monitoring, and then end with references. If you work in a school today, it is impossible to ignore all of the beautiful differences that make up each classroom. Between the four walls of each class, there is a melting pot of students from all different backgrounds, religions, ethnicities, genders, disabilities, races, and beyond. As a good educator knows, you must embrace these differences and adjust your teaching strategies to promote an equitable learning environment where everyone has the chance to thrive. This is where differentiated instruction comes in. One size does not fit all for your average classroom. Students have different needs, and as a teacher, you need to be flexible and open to working with these needs. Differentiated instruction is the idea that teachers supplement each lesson with a variety of strategies and tools to help students achieve the same learning goal in the end. In other words, the teacher provides multiple routes to get to the same destination. With differentiated instruction, teachers must take into consideration IEPs and GIPs and any and all action plans for each individual student. As Tomlinson states in How to Differentiate Instruction in Mixed Ability Classrooms, differentiation is teachers reacting responsively to a learner's needs. A teacher who is differentiating understands a student's needs to express humor or work with a group or have additional teaching on a particular skill or delve more deeply into a particular topic or have guided help with a reading passage, and the teacher responds actively and positively to that need. Differentiation is simply attending to the learning needs of a particular student or small group of students rather than the more typical pattern of teaching the class as though all individuals in it were basically alike. The goal of differentiated instruction in a classroom is maximum student growth and individual success. Here are some ideas and theories of what differentiation is not. This image was taken from the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. So differentiation isn't dumbing down and only teaching for some students. It's not a fixed set of instructional strategies, although we will talk about some strategies to help with this. It's not IEPs for all or individualized instruction. It isn't another word for group work. It's not just for students who are gifted. It's not just something extra on top of good teaching. It should be something that you do on a daily basis. It's not tracking or grouping students into classes by ability. It can work with the state standards, and it isn't mostly for students with identified learning challenges. So as a teacher, why should you choose differentiated instruction? Differentiated instruction creates inclusiveness in the classroom. It works just as well for gifted students as well as students with disabilities and everyone in between. It helps you have a variety in your teaching strategies, and it helps students acquire a deeper understanding of the content that you're teaching. Before you begin implementing differentiated instruction, it's important to do a pre-assessment of your student. In the pre-assessment, you should find out their readiness and ability, interest and talents, prior knowledge, and their learning profile, which Tomlinson described as a complete picture of their learning preferences, strengths, and challenges, and it's shaped by categories of learning style, intelligence, preference, culture, and gender. It's also necessary to consider state and local standards and benchmarks. So the different areas in your classroom where you can implement differentiation is in your instructional planning is the content, the process, and the product. The content is the knowledge, skills, and concepts that the teacher plans for students to learn based on the curriculum. Differentiating the content includes adjustment in the delivery of lessons in the form of videos, readings, lectures, or audio. Content can also be chunked with graphic organizers or through group work. Students can also have the choice to choose the focus of their content based on their interests. So the process is how students make sense of what they're learning. Before moving on to the next portion of a lesson, students need time to reflect and soak up the learning activities that they just participated in. Students can feel overwhelmed by receiving an overload of information and need time to assess and process what they've learned and what they still don't understand. So this serves as a formative assessment to help teachers know if they can move on or if they need to revisit a topic. Some examples are journaling, think, pair, share, partner reflection, class discussion, and more. According to Tomlinson, this is the most common form of differentiation, the product. Products can vary based on the level and interest of each student. Teachers can give students choices or propose their own designs. To make this work, students should be given clear criteria to understand what they must complete. This can come in the form of a rubric or learning contract. When products clearly address the learning goals and students are given choice, students thrive. Modifying existing curriculum has been an effective way to create more accessible learning environments to support all students and teachers in a variety of educational contexts. Next, we'll discuss some concrete ideas for modification. One idea is to develop a student-centered mindset. Remember that student success is your main priority. Teachers are well equipped with student needs when it comes to IEPs and GIPs or any learning disabilities, but a student-centered mindset goes beyond this. This involves paying close attention to each student's progress while adjusting our teaching approaches as the year goes on. For example, if a student is struggling, question why and what you can do to help them. Work with students individually and find out what they need to succeed, whether it's a quieter testing environment, small group reteaching of a certain concept, or more time to complete a project. Another idea for modifying your curriculum is to use multiple forms of assessment. Assessing students should go beyond just a test. Grades should include a variety of factors, including engaging projects, homework, classwork, participation, and writing assignments. This gives students many different opportunities to show their knowledge of content in a variety of platforms. Collaborating with your coworkers is an essential part of being a successful teacher. We all have different experiences and knowledge that can be of great use to each other. Teachers should work together, sharing their expertise and advice for the greater good of each individual student. Co-planning tests, quizzes, projects, and classroom routines can help students who may be struggling. Many students really thrive when consistency is established. For secondary students that are changing classes each period, they may find comfort in consistent routines set by each teacher. Establishing an agenda for the day as well as a checklist could also be helpful, along with a do now to get them started and on task in the beginning of a class. Assignments and homework should always be explained verbally as well as written somewhere visually for students, and common policies and procedures should be consistent across classes. It's important to be mindful about how your students move about the classroom. Give your students many opportunities to move around your classroom during different activities. Studies show that children who are more active exhibit better focus, faster cognitive processing, and more successful memory retention than kids who spend the day sitting still. Keeping the body active promotes mental clarity and can benefit kinetic learners. Universal Design for Learning gives all students the chance to access, participate in, and progress in the same general education curriculum. This is done by breaking down barriers of instruction. Before you begin modifying your curriculum, it's important to define the specific goals at hand, assess each diverse learner's needs, and consider the barriers that exist in the current curriculum. It's important to establish goals that are compliant with school standards, yet give students multiple ways to demonstrate that these goals have been met. Every student has strengths and weaknesses and preferred interests in their learning environment. It's important to get to know these needs and interests to adjust lesson strategies and incorporate them in the general education classroom. Who are these students? How do they learn best? What interests do they bring to our classroom? How do they prefer to communicate? What are they good at? There's no typical student. Barriers to learning may be present in the curriculum and need to be addressed. Teachers must address the barriers that are present in the curriculum, and when given the right tools for understanding information and content that is of interest, students with diverse learning profiles can progress in your class. When you're making your modifications, ask yourself, do I have multiple means of representation? Do I have multiple means of action and expression? And do I have multiple means of engagement? So some actual modification examples are to listen to audio recordings rather than just read a text, learn content through videos, movies, podcasts, audiobooks instead of just reading print. You can give instructions orally, give a written list of instructions, dictate answers to scribe, take a test in a quiet setting, use special lighting for your students, let students sit where they learn best, give students more time to complete a test, take breaks after completing a task, use an alarm to aid in time management, help coordinate assignments in a planner, and create alternate assignments. How students experience and manage their emotions is central to how well they learn. Whether a student is gifted and searching for motivation in a subject they dislike, or a student with a learning disability is struggling to read a difficult book, Their feelings and attitude greatly influence their ability to learn in the classroom. Success in school is also related to a student's ability to build relationships with their peers. So how can we embed social and emotional behavior in the classroom? One way is to begin the day with a check-in. Start the day with a personal connection. It can be quick and simple. Give a warm greeting to each person as they enter the classroom in the morning. Or perhaps, if given more time, they can reflect in a journal about how they're feeling and share with a partner. Give students opportunities to work with partners to help build a community in your classroom. Assign partners, but also allow them to make their own choices on their partners from time to time. Work in groups. Students will learn how to collaborate and negotiate with others while developing leadership and listening skills when they work in groups. Create a special inviting place in your room where students can take a break if they're upset and need to relax. A peaceful place. Give students lots of opportunities throughout the day to talk to each other and talk to you as a teacher. Also, community building activities can be a great way to build social skills in your classroom. One example, although there are many, is a game called Zoom. It's a classic classroom cooperative game that never seems to go out of style. You simply form students into a circle and give each a unique picture of an object, animal, or whatever else. You begin the story that incorporates whatever happens to be on your assigned photo. The next student continues the story incorporating their photo, and so on and so on. There are lots of different ways to monitor behavior in your classroom. There's so many great tools and charts online for teachers just simply by searching. This is an example of a behavior chart. It's weekly. You fill out their behavior, their work habits, and you have to have their parent sign it at the end of the week, and maybe you can implement some kind of reward for your student that motivates them. You can also have students monitor their own behavior with the self-assessment. I really like doing this because it gives students responsibility, and sometimes it really helps if you have students thinking about how they're doing themselves instead of just having the teacher tell them how they're doing. So they can have a list of exactly what's expected of them, and they can think back on the week and how they did, and again, they could have their parents sign it or the teacher, and there could be some kind of reward worked out with this if possible. So to wrap up my workshop, I just wanted to quickly go over again, differentiation is a teacher's response to all learners' needs. Teachers can differentiate through content, process, product, and environment by paying close attention to student interest, learning profile, readiness, and effect. Guided by general principles of differentiation are good curriculum, respectful work, positive community, flexible management strategies, ongoing assessments. So thank you for listening to my workshop. Here are the references that I used. There are many valuable references online and in the library. Hopefully this gave you a good overview and some strategies to include differentiated instruction in your classroom. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Have a great day.